Hey, what's up? It's Hillary. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my July TBR. So I hope you had a wonderful June, a happy Pride Month. It is currently still Pride Month when I'm filming this, so I am getting ready to go to some Pride festivities, hence the headpiece that I got at Ren Fair. You may notice things look a little bit different where I'm sitting, so I rearranged my room. I wasn't really feeling having the desk in this corner because it was very dark, and when I would be on video calls, you couldn't really see my face very well because of the backlighting of the window and everything. So I basically swapped the recliner and the desk, and then I moved the bookshelves over to here. And I like this a lot more. I feel like it's much more of a cozy reading nook like this. Okay, let's jump right into it. We've got some great books to get into this month. So as usual, I'm gonna start with my book club books for the month. And so one of my book clubs is actually doing a double feature this month. We decided to pick two sort of lighter, funner, romantic-y type books. So the first one that we picked is Ice Planet Barbarian. This is an alien romance. It's the first alien romance for a lot of the group, or you may hear monster smut. Basically, Ice Planet Barbarians is monster smut. So we're gonna dive right into that. One of my friends told me there's like 20 books in the series or something crazy like that. I don't know if I'll love it enough to read 20 books about it, but I will definitely read the first one. So in the first one, some aliens are having ship trouble and they end up dropping off all of their cargo of human women onto this ice planet. And one of the native inhabitants really has a thing for our main girl. That is the synopsis, and I feel like that's all we need to know, right? The second in our double feature is The Wolf King. I'm really excited to read this one. I've heard so many good things from a lot of people, and it's a trilogy, and the third book in the trilogy is coming out later this year. So I think this is the perfect time to find out if I like the series and want to start getting into it. So in this one, a princess is kidnapped by an alpha male. Oh no. And because of that, war rages between the humans and the wolves. Princess Aurora longs to escape the castle and her arranged marriage, but along the way, a forbidden attraction starts to grow. Now, this is pretty classic romantasy, so I'm very excited for this one. For one of my other book clubs, we're doing something really cool this month where we're going to read the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. These are volumes of small novellas that are formatted much like journal entries. The narrator of the audiobooks is actually going to be joining our book club call for a little Q&A, so I'm definitely going to be doing the audiobooks for these. It's set in the 1800s. Emma M. Lyon returns to her neighborhood in London and documents the curious realities of her life in these journals. All right, another fun thing about July is that Gabby over at Gabby Reads runs Summerween every July. It's a whole readathon. She has prompts and various activities and merch. It's very cute. Go check it out. For the prompts this year, I found a book that fits 3 of the prompts. So I'm mainly going to read that one. I will leave it open to the possibility of reading other. I don't really have much horror, but I have thrillers and things like that. So I'll leave open the possibility of reading more, but this is the one that I definitely am going to get to. It's How to Commit a Post-Colonial Murder. The prompts that this book fits are it's under 250 pages, there's pink on the cover, and it's by an author I've never read from before. This book begins with an uncle who is dead, and it's his tween niece's private confession to the reader that they killed him and they blame the British. I have no idea what that means, but we're gonna check this one out. Okay, next up is a book that I just recently purchased when I went to Tombolo Books in St. Pete and picked this one up. It just seems like such a perfect summer read that I want to read it right away. This is set in the early 1990s in a small Irish town, and our main girl Lucy feels very out of place. She's very fearful of rejection in her small conservative town, so she ends up living a bit of a double life. She's kind of hiding herself in stolen moments with Susanna. This is described as a tender portrayal of first love, adolescent anxiety, and the realities of growing up in a small town. This just seems like such a good summer read. I mean, aside from the title and the cover, which are very summer. The fact that it's about first love and I'm just kind of always reminiscent of that time as a child where, you know, we spent the summers like going on bike rides or at people's houses and just doing various things. And I had, you know, one of my first loves in a summer around the same time, honestly, as this book is set. Next up, we have The 7-Year Slip. I just recently read Ashley Poston's brand new book, The Someday Garden, and I really loved it. Now, it was very heavy into themes of gardening, and I am a gardener, so that may have been part of why I loved it, but I've just heard so many people say that this is one of her best books. The Someday Garden dealt with elements of magic and also grief, and I think there's similar elements in this book. From what I understand, Clementine's aunt has maybe passed away, and one day she finds a strange man in the kitchen of her late aunt's apartment, and it turns out that he exists in the past, specifically 7 years in the past. So the apartment is a bit magical, maybe a little bit of a time machine or something like that. That's crazy. If this is anything like The Someday Garden, I think this will be another perfect summer read, and I can't wait to get into it. Ooh, this one I might have to hold up with 2 hands. Let's see. Okay, we've got Into the Blue. Now, whether this is a good summer read, I'm not sure, but I've just been really enjoying a lot of romance lately, so I'm leaning into that this month. Now, this is a decades-spanning love story. AJ and Noah meet in the summer of 2000 at a video store and become very close friends as well as acting partners. And then one day, Noah disappears. 7 years later, they're cast in the same TV show and forced to confront the past, as well as the devastating secret that may tear them apart. I have seen people online raving about this and also saying how they were devastated, and you know I love those kinds of reads. All right, my last 2 books on my July TBR are going to be rereads in anticipation of new releases in the series. First, we've got Spark of the Everflame in the Kindred's Curse saga. So book 4, Burn of the Everflame, the final book in the series, will be coming out September 8th, and it has been 2 years since I read Heat of the Everflame, so it is time for me to do a reread. I'm going to be rereading all of the books, not just Spark of the Everflame, but this is the one that's officially on my TBR. So if you haven't heard of or read Spark of the Everflame, we start out with Diem, our main character, and her mother has been missing for about 6 months, and Diem fills in for her as the healer for the king, while she's also trying to find out what happened to her and where she went. Diem lives in Amarion, which is a world that is divided between mortals and descendants of the gods, and there's a lot of political and societal tension in this world. And as she's looking for answers about what happened to her mother, she ends up discovering so much more. This is a typical romantasy. It is known for being a slow burn romance and having one of the best book boyfriends. I really like this series, and in particular this as the first book, because it's very approachable. The world building is very simple in the first book. There's a lot of characters that you grow to love or hate, and get to see their growth over the course of the series, and also the world kind of expands and we learn a lot over the course of the following books in the series. So I think it's a very approachable romantasy. And finally, on my July TBR, we have Heartstopper Volume 6. Now I'm holding Volume 1 because I am going to be doing a reread of all of the books leading up to the new volume, which will be released July 7th. This is just such a wholesome, sweet graphic novel series about Nick and Charlie, but also their friends and family members. I just love it so much. I'm so sad that it's coming to an end, but also I can't wait to see how their story wraps up. If you've never heard of Heartstopper, it's a graphic novel series, but it's also a TV show on Netflix, and will soon have a movie on Netflix to conclude the series. This series touches on a lot of themes of friendship, identity, belonging, love of all kinds, and ultimately acceptance. All right, so that wraps up my July TBR. I think I've got a great lineup here. I'm very excited for all of these. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!